What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching today, baby. Ooh, baby. All right, guys, today's a shorter video. I'm going to talk a little bit about steroids and testosterone and my past history. But before I do, guys, I need to give the disclaimer, which states that I am not a doctor and nothing on this channel is medical advice. So if you are struggling with addiction, please seek out your own medical professional. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. But before we do, I need to go ahead and shout out the sponsors. I'll leave them up for the entirety of this stream. They are the people who financially support this channel. Shout out to the sponsors of the week, and there they are. All right, guys, so testosterone, let's talk about it. I've been on testosterone in one way or another for 20 years, guys. 2-0, basically. Wow. It just kind of really hit me today. I was thinking about it. Oh, my goodness. So let's go ahead and dive on into my history. So I was a skinny little runt for most of my life. I was skin and bones. I have pictures of me at 130 pounds at over 6 feet tall, guys. I have a picture where my wrist was bigger than my bicep. So now you can see the difference. There's my bicep, right? And there's my wrist. I have proof. I have pictures. I've made videos about this showing you. I used to be very skinny, right? So for most of my life, I was the skinniest person around. My family has really skinny genetics. I've got the skinny boy genes. So the quick backstory of how I got into working out and getting on steroids was, I had this really pretty girlfriend and I dated her for several years. We broke up and she started dating one of my friends, and he was all into working out and taking supplements, and he was really buff, right? And I saw them together one day in the mall after her and I had recently broke up, and it shattered my heart, right? It really, really sucked because she was extremely pretty, and you all know, fellas, you all know when you have a girl that you're really attracted to and you lose her, it really, really hurts. So, especially when you're that age, right? So here I was, 21 years old. I just lost my girlfriend to a gym bro, and he was actually a good friend of mine too, so it hurt even worse on top of that. But it happened to be a blessing in disguise. At the time, you would have never have thought this or known this, but seeing them made me think, if she wants a muscle man, I can do that. I can be buff. So I started looking into working out, and I started hitting the gym. I started eating every single bit of food that I could eat. I quickly gained weight naturally. I gained 30 pounds my first month of working out. 30, guys. I was that rapid of a reactor, right? So I went from 130 pounds to 160 pounds in 1 month. And the validation that I was getting from people who hadn't seen me, they didn't even recognize me. I looked like such a different person going from 130 to 160 in a month. So all that positive validation combined with my feeling like I'm some muscle man, it was very addicting, right? So I went from 130 to 160. I kept going. And then after that first month, it started slowing down, of course. I probably gained another 10 pounds the next month. And I ended up maxing out about 6 months later at 180 pounds. That's as far as I got naturally, guys. I went from 130 to 180. It was a major difference. But as any gym bros know, it's never enough. So, and this is way back, guys. This was 20 years ago, way back before all the information on the internet is out there like it is now. There were not a lot of people who even knew about steroids, let alone could help get you started on them and all that, right? Like it's a whole different ballgame these days. There was not a lot of information on YouTube about this stuff. There was nothing like that, guys. There was like a secret hidden forum that you could maybe log into and ask somebody a basic ask question. Nothing like it is these days. We have so much more awareness about this stuff and information about this stuff these days. So all right, so 6 months into it, I started my first cycle, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was something called Phenoplex, and which is basically Tren, which is basically the strongest steroid you can take. It was so strong, guys, that I was in the showering one day, and clumps of my hair were falling out in the shower, right? It was just very, very strong on my body. I gained 30 pounds the first month. So I went from 180 to 210 in 1 month. So I was loving it, and I knew I was going to be bald anyway because my whole family's bald. So it just basically sped up the process of me going bald, right? So that's what happens, guys. If you didn't know it, no, it doesn't just magically start growing back after you stop taking the steroids. Most of the time, oftentimes, not all the time, but many times the side effects that you get from steroids, they can be permanent, right? Like the balding. That is definitely something that most people, it's a permanent thing. Like when women take steroids, the deepening of the voice, that's a permanent thing, guys. The gains, they're not permanent, but the side effects often will be. So, all right. So continuing on, guys, I blasted some steroid cycles in many of my 20s. I would do like, a few cycles a year type of thing. I would basically just kind of keep it testosterone and D-ball, and then testosterone and Winnie in the summer. I wouldn't really go too crazy. I never went over 1,000 milligrams a week, and that probably sounds crazy even thinking about taking that much. But there are some guys out there that take grams and grams and grams per week, and it's just intense to see what some of the guys out there are taking these days. Mind blowing how much that has got to be changing everything in your body. Every little cell in your body is getting modified by an unknown substance that your buddy down the street made in his basement, right? Very risky stuff people are doing out there with their body. They have no idea what they're actually changing and doing, but hey, it's all for the gains. I get it. I've been there. I've been immature for many years. And, when I was first getting into it, I didn't care. I always thought I'd be dead by 30. So who cares? Let's just have some fun now. And then 30 comes and you're like, oh, wow, I'm not ready to die right now. And then 40 comes and you're like, oh, health problems start happening and you start getting injuries in your 30s, right? And you start to realize that, hey, this body, you can't just do this forever without consequence, especially if you're lifting heavy weights. That's extra toll you're taking on your body and your joints, and you start to have problems and aches, and it starts to not be as fun or as important to you after the years go on. And that's exactly what happened to me. So long story short, guys, I bulked up to 240 pounds. I was massive. You guys might have seen some videos that I've posted in the past showing what I look like at my biggest. Now I usually hover around 205 to 215, and that's only taking TRT. And I've been on TRT since I was 28 years old, guys. So I've got about almost 15 years being on testosterone replacement therapy prescribed by my doctor, monitored. I have the blood work. What is it? Once every 6 to 12 months, something like that. My blood work has mostly always been pretty good. Things to consider, guys, if you're looking into this or considering or have been on testosterone or other steroids like it, keep an eye on your blood pressure, guys. Get some blood work done. I can't tell you how many dudes I've seen in the cool bro gym lifestyle that never even check their blood levels, not once, but yet they can run cycles year round without even questioning it. It's just like, that is so risky, guys. So risky. I know many people are just afraid to know what the blood levels are going to look like. And there's good reason that they're concerned, because likely they know there's probably an issue, but they just want to keep sweeping it under the rug, right? So get your blood checked, guys. Buy a blood pressure monitor. Keep track of your blood pressure. Okay, these things can really start to add up and start to cause problems over the long haul. Do not take cycles year round. That is absolutely stupid when people do that. You have to keep in mind, guys, that this is an addiction. This is definitely an addiction. We talk a lot about addiction on this channel, mostly to stuff like opiates and alcohol, stuff like that. But we're talking about a serious addiction that many men, especially right now with how important it is to look good on Instagram or Facebook, right? Many men and women right now are struggling with addiction to steroids in 2024. And I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. I've seen it get worse over the years, specifically with the rise of social media. It has gotten much worse. If there's a new Instagram coming out, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse, guys. I get it. It's a tough world. You want to look good. You want to feel good. You want to be strong. I get it. But you have to think of the long run. You're not always likely going to want to be the jacked dude on Instagram or Facebook, right? Think about this stuff in the long term. So that's literally the only way that I could stop taking steroids, was to get prescribed TRT. I tried to just come off of steroids and just go on with my life. It was a lot like, honestly, TRT, guys, is a lot like Suboxone for opiate addiction in a way, because you can maintain a really good body on testosterone replacement therapy and keep your levels in the normal range. You really can. I've seen many people out there. I know many people out there who are on doctor prescribed TRT, usually around 100 to 150 milligrams a week is all you need, right? You don't need to be taking 400 or 500 milligrams a week. Obviously, like I said earlier in the video, guys, I'm not a doctor. This is medical advice. But another thing that you really need to do, and it's very cheap to do this if you have the right hospital. For me, I think it cost me $60 to have a calcium heart scan. And that tells you if you've done a bunch of damage around your heart from the use or abuse of steroids. Some people refer to it as coronary artery calcium heart scan. It's something like that, guys. And this tells you if you have blockage around your heart, if you're on track to have a heart attack or a stroke. This can really, really help save your life. So please, guys, go have that calcium heart scan done. I was lucky, very lucky, to have a score of 0. 0 out of, I think it's 400, right? The higher the number, the more blockage you have around your heart. So I think they call it plaque, calcium, whatever, guys. It's a calcium heart scan. Go look it up. Your insurance probably pays for it for free. If not, your hospital around you likely has a cheap cash payment option like mine. I paid $60. I got it scanned like 3 years ago, and then last year as well. And I'm gonna keep checking that heart scan every few years just to make sure that I'm not putting myself on a collision course, right? Because taking steroids, taking TRT, also substance abuse, these things can contribute to blockage around your heart, right, guys? So please do those 3 things. Get your blood work. Do not do cycles year round. You need to take a break. Don't go crazy with the dosages. Try to keep things as low, because there's a point, guys, when you start to raise your dosages. I noticed this when I was taking steroids. It's like a limited return on higher dosages, right? You get a big bang for your buck on lower doses of testosterone and other substances, but when you start to raise the doses, you start to just get minor, and it's not worth all the risk and the bad stuff that you're putting your body through. Okay, guys. So if you guys have any questions, comments about testosterone or other steroids, I would drop a comment. I'll be happy to try to respond to you. And I do have a lot of experience. I know a lot of friends who compete in bodybuilding. I've talked to a lot of professional bodybuilders over the years, and I've seen a lot of people lose their life early, right? You can really shorten your life with this stuff. It is serious. It's a big boys game. And I don't know anybody who just took one steroid cycle, and because that's like the saying, right? I'll just do one cycle and I'll be good. First of all, you lose 90% of the gains that you got when you were on the cycle. So that's not going to work, right? And you don't know that until you go through that and you experience what it's like to be quote unquote Superman, and then to lose that a month or 2 later when your levels drop off, right? It's very addicting. So beware of the addiction to steroids. It's very, very addicting, guys. It could be fun, of course, obviously, who doesn't want to look like Superman? But yeah, guys, I think that's about all for this video. Don't forget that we do Wednesday weekly recovery meetings, live streams here on YouTube, which start at 2 p.m. Pacific time, which is 3 p.m. Mountain time, 4 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Eastern time. We do them every single week. We talk a lot about addiction to substances. Suboxone. We talk about kratom. We talk about opiate addiction recovery, alcoholism, all this stuff. We discuss it every single week, guys. So come stop by and say hi on the live stream, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.